I told the gaslighting Stapleton, the Gulf Coast Stapleton's wife, Brittany, that I was not going to share these screenshots. And my intention was not to share the screenshots, but here I am. I'm coming to share them because the gaslighting is unreal. The inability to read the room is unreal. And these big sis tips where people talk negatively about other people because they're jealous of their marriages, they're jealous of their jobs, they're jealous because they're prettier. Sis, no. First of all, you would not be able to have my job in the situation that you're in, because my job every single day for the past 21 years has been advocating on the behalf of children. If you had my job, you would probably immediately be terminated for supporting what you're supporting. So let's get into it, guys. Gaslighting 101. I know that this screenshot will be posted, and I'm aware that this is a way of gaining exposure off others' hardest dealings. I have actually seen your videos and always appreciated how you handled the Lindsay Shiver case after you spoke poorly about her in several videos. I never spoke poorly about Lindsay in any video. I was releasing public information. As someone with a decent following, I understand why you do the things you do, but would recommend maybe reaching out to the source before blasting information that you don't have forensics to. If this right here, this final disposition, is not a document of all the forensics that I need to know, I don't know what is. There is nothing that you could say to me to explain away this situation. Your husband pled guilty. And as an individual who would absolutely never do anything like this, if for some reason I ended up being charged with something like this, I would literally die proving my innocence. Now, you guys know there were 40 counts. Initially, I think he was charged with 15, and then at some point up to 40 were added. He pled guilty to 20, and the other 20 were not prosecuted. It is vile, it is disgusting, it is one of the worst things I have ever read in my life. But I'm supposed to reach out to her before I blast it so that I can get the forensics. Just because something is public, it does not mean that it is correct. Well, ma'am, none of this is alleged. He pled guilty. It is no longer alleged. I'm extremely thankful that I am strong mentally, but I cannot imagine what you and these other true crime accounts would do to someone mentally without knowing or having any regard for their mental health. Excuse me. What about the mental health of each and every one of the victims? Who speaks out for them? This is about the victims. And nowhere in any of the messages that you sent me is there any accountability mentioned or any regard at all for these prepubescent children who were victimized. Not one. So then basically I'm gonna hide this part. Personally, I'm a thoughtful person, and she sure would hate to be the person responsible for someone offing themselves. Ma'am, again, how do you think the victims feel? And then she says that maybe it's a consideration that I should take for the future. And so initially I was very kind. I am always 100% of the time willing to listen to the other side's story, always. Even if I don't agree with it, I'm not the type of person that has to agree with you to be able to get along with you. I'm always willing to listen, and so I tell her I appreciate her reaching out, that I'm truly sorry for what she's going through, because at the time, I thought I was giving her the benefit of the doubt, and maybe she wasn't really aware of how horrendous these things were. But now we all know that's not true, because she came out with a video, a proud video, saying that hell yes, she knew. She knew, and she didn't care. She was fine with it. She's a good judge of character and just all the things. Well, your judge of character and my judge of character are not the same. So again, I'm absolutely open to hearing your side of things. If you'd like to share them, I will not post this screenshot, and I had zero intention, but here I am. I rarely ever share screenshots, and certainly don't if the sender asks me not to. Well, she never asked me not to. Now, at this point in time, also, she's accusing me of posting these things for views, to make money, for financial gain, which I was actually kicked out of the program. So wasn't posting for anything other than to be a voice for these child victims. But then, I didn't reach out, but she can't legally discuss it. So what would be the point of me reaching out? In all of this, she continues to message other people who are also making videos saying that she doesn't understand why they didn't reach out. Well, you've said you can't legally discuss it. And again, thankful for my mental state, because I would not advise doing this to just anyone. Well, I don't do it to just anyone. I don't. I do it to someone who has been charged with a crime or convicted of a crime. She cannot imagine being the reason gaslighting that someone, not knowing the facts of the case. What else do you need to know? If you have a bone of decency, a single cell of decency in your body, that document is the only thing that you need to see. I know it's easy to enjoy the views off someone else's hurt. Again, we're not acknowledging the victims here. It's just about her, and it's just about Josh. She almost went into journalism after her degree in communication, but she realized she could never profit off of someone else's worst day. Okay, what about the victim's worst day? What about their voices being minimalized? What about maybe, just a thought, maybe I'm on here sharing these stories to be a voice for the victims. You know, it's not all about you. It's not all about me. It's not all about these dirtbags who are charged with these crimes and who plead guilty to these crimes. This will pass and you will be onto a new case, and this certainly isn't your worst case to ever post about. It might be. It very well might be. To the gaslighting. I have never in my life seen this level of gaslighting. She hopes that I will soon choose to use it in a more positive way, and if not, maybe somewhat humane, and reach out prior to, in order to see if a person can legally defend themselves online prior to posting. There is no legal defense for someone who pleads guilty, because at this point I am not legally allowed to discuss. So you're just destroying lives without the facts. No, ma'am, I'm not destroying anyone's life. I'm sharing facts from a court document. Think about the victims' lives who were destroyed. Think about those children, those prepubescent children who have not yet reached puberty. 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, possibly even younger. Keep your posts up and continue profiting. If you can sleep well through the night, baby girl, I have slept like rock solid every single night. Hope you choose to think differently in the future, not for me, but for others in a more vulnerable position. What about the victims? Y'all, if this does not tell you every single thing you need to know, then I don't know what will. So I let her know that she was not going to blame me for someone else's poor decisions. It's public record. And if I had reached out last night, she wouldn't have been able to discuss it then either. And as I said, for 21 years, literally half my life, I have worked with children and been an advocate for children, and you better believe I'm calling it out every single time. And then I finished with, I'm sorry you choose to support it. It is something I will never stand behind.